All right, troops, welcome back to the Anvil Power Hour. This is probably the third start to this one I've done so far because I keep on fucking up the camera settings. So let's get into it. Our topics today, when we get into the main body of it, is going to be game day prep. So how to get ready for competitions and how to plan out goals when it comes to your own progress. But before that, there is a couple of things we'd like to ask you to do, which is if you could like, and if you've got any questions, feel free to comment below and subscribe to the page would be fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll open up our standard first topic, which is Chris, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
I've had a good week this week. For a couple of days off work, so a nice long weekend. Um, was going to try and get some hobby stuff done for people that don't know. I play golf on the side as well. That's my hobby. Quite a keen golfer. But unfortunately, the Pennycook microclimate has put an end to that. Because we had rain, sun, snow, and hail. Pretty much all weekend. So yeah, kind
Yeah,
of put an end to that, unfortunately.
we had the same. Like last night, I was putting the bin out and it was just hail and it was
Yeah.
lying like snow. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Um, it's been the weather this week's been pure madness. It's gone
It
from some
has.
days which has been absolutely fantastic to like last day it was like zero. It felt like 0 degrees because of the wind. There was sleet
Yep.
and snow and I'm like that and hail. I'm like Jesus Christ.
I know. I know. No,
So
sun
it's
was out
absolutely
Friday
madness.
lunchtime. I was changed, ready to go, and as soon as I opened the front door,
It opened up.
hail, snow,
Yeah.
rain. I was like, nah, that's put an end to that.
So how's training going this week?
Training's been good this week. I had to rejig things slightly, so I ended up doing 4 days in a row training, which isn't like me. Normally, I like a break after a couple of days. But unfortunately, the way things work this week, with work, etc., I had to do, I think it was 4 days in a row, which was a
Yeah.
bit taxing, but I managed to get 2 days off after that, which was good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very much the thing, isn't it? Like I'm a 2 days on, 1 day off type of person myself. I
Yeah,
like 2 days on and the rest day. I feel like that. I can push a third day in there, but the third day is usually strategically placed and it's smaller exercises, accessory
yep.
based exercises that I can push intensity on, but I really struggle with big compounds
Hmm.
for multiple days on the trot. It's just not something I prefer personally. But
No,
no,
I
I
get
get
that.
that, yeah. And the training you're on right now is quite energy intensive and
As
movement intensive because we need that sort of energy expenditure nice and high to get you where you want to be.
exactly. Yep.
No, my week's actually not too bad. I need to from now on, apparently I need to take a measuring tape with me to the gym so I can measure my close grip. My close
I
grip.
saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Wow.
so like I know, and I was just like that. So I'm not opposed to constructive criticism on my social media. One of the boys did it to me the other day.
Hmm.
Um, I call Z press sitting in the bench shoulder pressing. I used to call it seated Z press. Turns out I
Hmm.
was incorrect. It's unsupported seated shoulder press. And he was just
Right,
like,
okay.
they explained it to me. Just Z press is very much set on the ground. He's like,
Yep.
most people don't know the difference, but he's like, it's an ism. And I was like, that's cool. That's no problem. I have no
Yeah.
problem with that. I speak to this boy once or twice a week, every week. So like I have a rapport built up with him.
Hmm.
Now, this guy on social media just popped up with three laughing faces and close grip. To which I replied with, well, it's a hand and a half closer than my normal bench position.
So therefore it's close grip.
So it's close grip. And then the reply was amazing. Like I don't like it's one of my most popular viewed stories, and it pretty much came down to pure jealousy, which was something along the lines. It's closer grip, but it's no close grip. And I was just like that going, the fuck do you mean?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
literally you've answered the question. So if it's closer than my standard grip, it's close grip. But the
Yeah.
next bit was a bit that came in, which was like close grip really cooks the tricep, like really hits the triceps deep or something like that. And you cannot load that much weight on the bar. And then I read the last bit, I went, someone's jealous because I'm lifting more weight than them.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. I'm like, this guy also has zero understanding of biomechanics.
Yep.
So like you can't like for those who realize it, see benching close grip like that, as soon as you come down, Look
hmm
at how my elbows bend as I come in like that. So that's putting all that stress through the muscle
Yeah.
and not through the tricep. So what's the point? Like
And they start
you're like,
flaring as well. It's shoulders, it's
yeah,
wrists.
and
It's
you're
uncomfortable.
just gonna cause pain, like
Yeah.
vindictive pain in your forearms. And I jumped onto YouTube and I watched multiple videos of people that are benching 150 for reps, are bigger and smaller than me, and I'm no jealous. I'm no jealous of them.
I'm pretty sure I saw Beefy benching 180 for reps close grip the other day.
Probably, yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like loads of people do it. Loads of people are stronger. Like the thing is, my close grip is set up for me. Like my
Yeah.
triceps were cooked in that. If you watch the video on my social media, you can see my arms shake as I get towards the end. I wonder
Yeah.
why that would be. Maybe have something to do with the fact that my triceps are burning up because of the reps. So I was just like, this is madness, right? So this is going to be first wee topic before we get into the main body. But if you're ever going to feel like you need to comment on someone's social media, first things first, is it positive? If it's positive, yeah, crack on.
hmm
Perfect. Give them a support. I've had loads of people message me going, "That was awesome, well done," and I was like, "That's it's really cool." And I was kick, and there was guys on it going, "Oh, I feel like I was doing this," and I'm like, "Who cares what I'm doing? The fact that you're doing that is awesome." Like, and
Yeah.
that's why, like, you always have to remember, like, we're all of different strengths, but as long as
hmm
you're progressing, progressing is good.
That's it.
Number two, if you are going to make constructive criticism, first things first, make it constructive. Do not make a fucking stupid comment, you absolute bloody retard. Um, Number three, your when you make your comments, if you want to constructively criticize someone, at least have a ongoing conversation with them.
hmm
So there is a bit of
Debate.
a debate or a relationship there. Like I
Yeah.
don't call like I'll quite happily talk to loads of folk. I very rarely comment on people's lifting, and I'm a coach.
hmm
And I don't do this for one of two reasons. One, most of these people have coaches themselves. They do it. I will openly comment on things where people are asking for advice because I have no issue with that whatsoever because people are asking for advice. That's the nature of the beast.
Yep.
I will always, and this is what I think most people should do, is I will always preface any advice I'm going to give with the following question, which is there's something I've noticed. Are you open for me to discuss it with you, or would you rather just not bother?
hmm
Something along those lines. Like the other day, I was watching someone do log press, and I talked to the person quite frequently, and I messaged them. I was like, "How's it going? Like, how's the log press going?" And they're like, "Not very great." It's like, "Could I make a suggestion, please?"
hmm
Feel free to say no. And she was like, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, your elbows are dropping when you dip down, and your wrists are collapsing, and you're rolling forward out of your pressing position. So what was happening was rather than her wrist staying like this, as
hmm
she dipped down, her wrist would curve backwards or tip forward, which would throw the log out of position. So
Yep.
rather than pressing at 45-degree angle, she was then pressing at a 90-degree angle, and her elbows dropped at the same time as she dipped down. Very common thing to see in lifters. And I was like, just mention that to your coach. I'm sure he's noticed it, but mention it to your coach and then ask for it. And the thing that was like, without sounding crude, because it was a woman, I was like, how I tell people to manage their position was think about you're dodging a speeding ticket when the cops are about to give it to you. Get your chebs out, and stick your chebs out. And when that, and she laughed at that, which is fine. But the point still stands. And like, I was like,
hmm
I've given advice. I know she has a coach. I then went refer this back to your coach, discuss with him, see what he thinks, because I want people to understand that if I'm going to help someone, I want them to make sure that their coaches understand that the help is directed towards them, and and that help needs to be a discussion with the coach because a coach might have another plan in
Yeah.
place, and I don't want to be undermining the coach
Aye, or
by
treading on
speaking in place.
anybody's toes or that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, just be nice. Like if someone's done something and they're proud of it, celebrate it with them. Like,
Exactly.
oh, and if you are going to make stinking comments, gonna hide behind private accounts or accounts with no posts because you have zero spine. You are a
Agreed.
coward.
Agreed.
So we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back in a minute with the strongman section, which will be game day prep, what you need to plan in advance, everything you need to square away for the competition day itself. And we'll be back in a few seconds. And we are back. So game day prep. You're going for a competition, you've got comp plan, something coming up, a big event day, and we're about to step up to the plate. So we are talking about this is prep for us starts probably a week out when it comes to this kind of stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hand over to Chris first, and Chris is gonna talk through how he likes to prep for competitions.
Yep.
And then we're going to add in anything else I like to add in on top from a coaching section and so like coaching advice section. So, Chris, let's get started with yourself. How do you
Yep.
crack into competition prep?
So starting from a week out from the
Yeah, roughly
competition,
about a week out. Yeah,
about a week out. So one of the first things I like to do is I like to wash all my kit. That's get all
yes,
my kit
do it.
cleaned, all my sleeves in that wash, neoprene
Spe-
shorts.
yeah, sleeves and the other green shorts, 100%.
Yeah, get all that washed. That's the first thing I do. One of the next things I do is it's normally a conversation with yourself about
Yeah,
nutrition for the day of competition, and maybe the day before. So I used to compete as a 105,
mhm,
so it was always a 24-hour weigh-in. So a week out, I'd have conversations with you about weighing in and then about refeeding up to the competition as well,
yeah.
and then actual nutrition for the day of competition as well, which I think is quite a big one that needs to be right, that a lot of people get wrong.
Definitely. Now, when it comes to yourself, we are in a very lucky place, and 9 times out of 10, you're already sitting around about 105.
Yep.
So when it comes to your comp prep, it's usually a 24-hour fast or a 12-hour fast we do ahead of the
Hmm.
competition, and that usually pulls you in absolutely fine. Now, when it comes to this kind of stuff, or water loading or anything like that, please, for the love of God, practice it in the off season before you
Hmm.
try and put it in the comp season. We test stuff in the off season, so I know on average 24-hour fast for Chris will drop him roughly zero point 0.7 kilos of body weight.
Hmm. Sorry, that's not
That
a 24-hour fast, that's a 12-hour
that's
fast.
a 12-hour fast.
And
So
that's
I
an
don't think we've
overnight fast as well. That's
yeah,
7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So
10
it's not
a.m. Yeah.
affecting my day
Mhm.
either. It's literally have my last meal, any water before 7 p.m., and
Yeah, and
that's me
then
till 7 a.m. And it's an easy 12 hours.
yes.
It's a simple way of dropping weight.
Uh-huh. So that's the first one. 24-hour fast, I think, for yourself. Have we needed to do one of those? I don't think we've needed to do one of
No,
those, haven't
no,
we? No.
no water cuts and no 24-hour fasts, only
Yeah.
12 hours.
I've done 24-hour fasts with other clients. I know I've done one with my buddy Diane when I helped her through nutrition, and she dropped out 1.5 kilos in the day to make weight and stuff like that. So I have done them in the past. I do find them quite effective. I don't like any more than 24-hour fasts. I really disdain 48-hour fasts because I feel
Hmm.
like your body starts to have issues. And if you have that much weight to lose, you have a problem.
Yep.
Your dieting phase ahead of your comp has failed.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's back on topic. So right, so we've had the
Yeah.
talk about nutrition and stuff like that,
Yep.
and then
For the
we're
talk about nutrition, we've got the kit washed. Normally, there's still two very light training sessions to be done, and that's
yes.
purely because I sit behind a desk all day, and it keeps me moving. So normally they're earlier on in the week. The comp's a Saturday. The sessions are maybe a Monday, Tuesday,
Mhm,
and then the rest of the week's just spent getting steps in, just to keep the weight down and just to keep moving.
mhm,
But yeah, that's really how I prep a week up to
mhm.
competition.
Right.
I,
No, crack on.
yeah, I like to get everything done early in the week, so when it gets to the latter stages of the week, when it's close to comp, you don't have anything to think about.
So what do we do? What kit do we make sure that we have on the day that's above just the general training kit that we have? Like, we'll talk about nutrition in a second, but let's talk about the training kit first. So what kind of stuff do you like to bring with you just as nice to haves?
It's nice to have. Always bring a toilet roll
Yes.
because strongman gyms are horrendous. I've normally got ibuprofen gel in my bag as well, just in case I get any joint pain or any flare-ups, which touch wood I've never had, but it's there just in case. What else have I got? Um, just my just all my standard kit, sleeves,
Yeah.
belts, everything like that. A spare pair of shoes, spare pair of underwear as well. Just in case any accidents happen,
Yep.
which sometimes do. It's not
Mhm.
uncommon in strongman slash strongwoman.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, that's pretty much it kit wise for me, I think. You're really making me think now. It's been a while
It's
since I've
been
competed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
It's
been
been a
last
hot
year.
minute. It's been
Yeah.
a hot minute.
So it's been a while, but yeah, it doesn't really change. Like, so, right,
No.
now we're going to talk about through my perspective. So we're going to start a week out. So
Hmm.
from a week out, the first thing we do is is get kit prepped and cleaned because see if you're, I understand you're there to win,
Yep.
but winning by chemical warfare should be classed as cheating. And if your knee sleeves smell like Satan's fucking bossack, then you really got to sort your shit out. Like, that's not fair for the other lifters.
Nah, it's
No
not.
fair for yourself. It's no fair for the other lifters. So please give your kit a good scrub out at least. Let it air. At least get it out the bag for a couple of days because some of you guys don't pull your kit out of your bag at all. So that's just sweating in a black bag with no air getting to it pretty much constantly. Pretty vile. Gonna get squared away. When it comes to my clients, taper them off and deload them the week up to the comp. So we have two very light sessions and keep the blood moving. And then usually I like people wrapped up about 3 days before comp. So if
Yep.
it's a Saturday, your training's done on a Tuesday. If it's Sunday, training's done on a Wednesday. Steps, light cardio, very light cardio, and stretching.
Stretching. I forgot that
Yes.
one as well. Yep.
Those are the three things that I ask all my clients to do in the run up to competitions. So we don't get the phantom pains. This is why you don't get a full week's rest. That's why you should always be doing something, keeping some kind of active recovery going, because you don't want the phantom pains to creep up where you're like, oh, my back's getting really sore because I'm not doing what I normally do. A lot of
Hmm.
people in this week will cut down steps, they'll cut down training, and their called training will completely go. Cardio will come non-existent and steps will stop. And that's actually probably hampering your body because it's you need steps to help your body recover.
Yeah.
You need like cardio to help your body maintain its suppleness. If you're then going to total rest and you're not doing anything, you're going to really struggle. You've got to find a lot of pain in the situation. So after that, we are running up to the day before competition. So what I suggest clients do on the day before competition is completely empty out your bag. Give it a gutting of all the loose waste crap that's in it. And then with your clean kit, repack your bag. Try and
Hmm.
pack things together. So if you've got deadlifts, make sure your belt and your straps are close together. If you've got log press and you use wrist wraps and knee sleeves, make sure wrist wraps, knee sleeves, and your elbow stuff's all close together. So it's all banded together into little chunks. So you're not having to dig through and fling everything out the bag. I would always recommend bringing a band with you of some description.
Hmm.
A long
Resistance
band,
band.
resistance band, yep. And when it comes to spare clothing, pair of pants, like Chris said, but I also suggest a different t-shirt and yeah, also a pair of trainers. And the reason why that is like you might end up like I've seen people be sick at competitions. It's not an uncommon thing. So having a spare t-shirt there to swap into is actually quite handy. I know you'll get your comp t-shirt on the day, but sometimes like you'll also maybe want a spare t-shirt because the comp t-shirts are almost like nowadays the medals of these competitions. You want to keep them for memories and stuff like that. So you don't want them
Hmm.
destroyed. So having spare t-shirts is a handy one to have. Make sure you double check and triple check all your kit that you need. So yes, I would also recommend the following items to be brought with you. Like Chris said, you've got ibuprofen gel, toilet roll. I would actually bring a full pack of toilet roll with you, not just one. bring like a full 4 roll pack of toilet roll with you because strongman comps and powerlifting comps, they run out of toilet roll all the time. Um, because they just do not understand, especially at ladies' competitions. Because you are all having nervous wheeze every 30 seconds, you desperately need to bring it. Like, I remember working with a couple of powerlifting clients, and I was like, right, prep your kit, bring a roll of 4 pack of toilet roll. And they were like, why would we need that? I'm like, bring a 4 pack of toilet roll. And then we're at the competition next day, about maybe an hour in, they'd ran out of toilet roll. And I turned around and went, aren't you glad? And I'd brought a pack of 9 in my car. And I was like, aren't you glad you brought them? Like, here's some more. Just to like have for my clients. I was like, keep it to yourself, do not share it.
Yeah.
It sounds really harsh, but I'm like that going, like, you don't want to lose it. That's why I always tell you to bring more than 1 roll. Electrolyte powders or fluids or tablets are another thing that I think are super handy to bring with you on competition days. Especially if it's a hot day, make sure that you're replacing any salts that are being dropped from the
Hmm.
body because I think that's quite a crucial thing. And yeah, ibuprofen gel. I would always bring some bananas with you as well. I do think bananas become quite beneficial in training days, and that's really about it. So, a towel to help wipe the sweat off you, and then that's really it. Those are all the extra things. Headphones can also be quite a beneficial thing to bring with you because the competitions can be a bit overwhelming. So sometimes just closing off and getting into your own headspace and
Hmm.
chilling out with your music is a very good thing to do with you, and a helper of some description, aka a bag monkey. Someone there to carry your bag, to do all the admin for you, so you can just focus on the competition itself.
Yep.
So someone to run around in the background and be and sort of like just help you out. We'll call them a helper rather than a bag monkey. Um, so we now move on to nutrition for the day. Do not, under any circumstances whatsoever, try and do anything funny with your nutrition on the day of your competition. Stick
Yep.
to plainish foods. Stick to foods that you know your body handles well. So, for example, if you have pasta and it makes you feel stodgy, do not bring pasta on the day of competitions. Bring something else. Rice is usually a good option for carbs. Wraps are its option for carbs. I like bagels and jam
Yep.
as a general option for clients because I find that is quite high in carbs, quite high in fast acting sugars, but also it doesn't sit too heavy in the stomach. And that's something else you need to consider is making sure that when you are eating, you're not going to feel bloated and packed up with food. You need to keep it quite dense,
Hmm.
but quite dense foods, but for quality, quite dense. I know what I mean. I hope you get what I mean. Do not bring too many sweets with you. I see this all the time. Like too many people are bringing like bags and pretty much live on sugar throughout the day, and I do think that hampers your progress
Yep.
because you will crash. And plan your caffeine throughout the day as well. So you're not simply just smashing caffeine at the start of the day and then having nothing for the rest of the day. So actually plan it because one of the worst things you can do is run out of caffeine or have a caffeine crash towards the end of the competition.
Yes.
Because it'll fuck you up. It will fuck you up. So
It
if you're
makes you
going to
feel
have,
horrendous as
yeah.
well.
So if you're going to have caffeine, I would plan like maybe a half a scoop of pre-workout at the start of the competition and then maybe a top up about halfway through, or a full scoop at the start, and maybe like a monster later on in the day to keep you
Yep.
ticking over. Like these sort of things to keep that balance in place. But when it comes to game day, when it comes to game day prep, it's all about you have to actually plan and prep in advance. Do not leave it to last minute. Get a lot of this stuff done a week ahead. And make sure you have kit lists. Make sure you double check. Make sure you have everything. Double check it, triple check it. If you have a friend that's free who's into the sport as well, when you're training buddies, get your training buddy to come over and have a check of it. Like just double check and triple checks. And because the more you check this kind of stuff, the easier the competition day is going to be on the day for you. And yeah, toilet roll. Lots of toilet roll.
Lots.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Um, Nah, I think that's it really. Obviously you said about the headphones and that. I'm quite a sociable guy on comp
Yeah.
day. I like to catch up with people and that. So I like being in the mix and chatting with
Mhm.
everybody and that. But I do get it. It does get a bit overwhelming. Sometimes you do need to take a step outside, go and sit in the car or have a wee chat with your helper. Or there's
Yeah,
even been times
exactly.
I've picked up the phone to you as well during a
Yeah.
comp and say, Craig,
Hmm.
this
Like,
hasn't went well. What do we do?
um, yeah, so when it comes to my clients, if I can, I work Saturday and Sundays. I work with clients face to face at the weekends. It makes it incredibly difficult to get to competitions because I have other priorities. I am not just an
Yep.
online coach. I deal with one-to-one clients as well. So that means it is quite difficult for me to get to competitions. But I always tell my clients that if there's any issues to text or phone because I have my phone on me, it's on loud, and my clients are all made aware of the fact that clients competing on the day, so I can react quickly to phone calls. I remember being out for dinner with a missus, and literally we were like, there were questions being asked while we're waiting on our dinner and stuff coming through, and I was just replying to them like, it just happens. Like I've been on holiday and this shit happens. Like it's the nature of the beast of being the coach. Like I've got to be there to help people. But yeah, so that's it. Like I don't think there's really much else to add to that. I feel in
Nah,
this situation, planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance is the quote of the day. Like just
definitely.
plan it, prep it, double check it. You'll be good. Trust me. So
Yep.
we're going to wrap up this topic here, and we're going to take a quick short break, and we'll be back, and we're going to talk about how to prep, how to goal prep, how to set up a goal prep system. So we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Catch you in a bit. All right, troops, we are back. Let's get into it. So we have a goal. You have a goal. You have a dream. How do we prep it? How do we plan it out? So first things first. When's the goal's end date? You need to have an end date. We're going to talk about this from a let's talk about from a competition and a weight loss um, point in this one. So we're going to talk through a competition one first, and then we'll move on to weight loss. So
Yep.
let's say we have a competition. How many weeks out is it? 8, 10, 12, 16, 20 weeks, however long it is. That's your end goal. What we start doing is we work backwards. So the first thing we do is the week before the competition, excuse me, is going to be your deload week. So you need to make sure that that's planned in. Prior to that, you need to decide if 1 week out for comp or 2 weeks out from comp is going to be your heaviest session. So some people like it a week out for competition, some people like it 2 weeks out from competition. You have to decide there. So whichever week that is, so say it's 1 week out for comp, you tape the week, so drop a lot of the load on the week and then put 100% effort into that final session. If it's 2 weeks out from competition, tape the week, maximum effort session, and then a light final week's training and a light run through of events, which I actually think is quite beneficial.
Hmm.
I don't disagree with that notion, but the only issue with it is when it comes to comp prep, we usually a lot of you choose competitions that are a bit close to the bone. So we sometimes don't have the time to allow us to get that extra weekend. We have to push it to the last week. But it just nature beast. If you have enough time, then try and go for the deal there. So like the light week after the heavy comp week
Hmm.
before training. I think that's quite beneficial. So that's your 3 weeks up the competition squared away. So the next thing we need to do is work out any important events coming up. So, do you have any holidays? Do you have any birthdays? Do you have any things like that? Anything that's going to impact your training? We then pop that into the calendar cycle. So, say you have a holiday 6 weeks into training. Cool. How long are you away for? Are you away for a week? Are you away for 5 days? Are you away for 3 days? Are you away across 2 weeks? Are you eating up a full week of training? All these things take into consideration, and then we plan around it. So, if we are crossing 2 weeks, right, cool. I would do the events, your heavy events days on each week and drop most of the other training sessions. So you're at least getting something in. If it's crossing an entire single week, probably put a deload in and just run a deload that week to let your body recover because holidays and things like that are perfect deload times. Um, and then go from there. So we then have those things packed in our potential holiday times. If you have no holidays or large scale commitments in the comp prep, we need to plan deloads in. Deloads are one of those things that I feel are more strategically placed in as and when, but I do always think some kind of planned deload is preferential, roughly about 5 weeks out from competition. There'll be probably a planned deload in, but if the deload is needed to come a week or two before that, so be it. That might be the deload on the run up to competition. We just see how the lifter feels on the run up. But a planned deload about 5 weeks out for competition, so you have 4 full weeks of good training, I think is a good shout as well. You then have to work out whatever time you've got left to build your phases around. So if so, we may have what I refer to as an acclimatization phase. So say we are 20 weeks out for competition, the first 4 weeks might be a acclimatization phase where you're getting used to the kit and you're getting technically stronger with the kit. We then move into building up conditioning and volume and strength phases, depending on where the priorities need to lie. We take our deload and may take a deload after that block, and then we're into a run of sort of like getting used to the competition layout system prep. Then we take our final deload, and then the last 4 weeks of the training block is hard focused training where you're probably doing every single event on the same day. At the start of the competition, unless you are restricted by gym accessibility, I would never recommend putting all 5 events on the same day at the start. I'd maybe do 2 or 3 events each day. So go to your strongman gym twice a week, do 2 events one day and 3 events the other. So what I'd usually maybe do is say log deadlift and movement event on one day, um, event 4 and event 5, which is normally stones on day 2. Or if you have sandbag and stones in the same competition, log event sandbag on the first day, movement event and stones on the other day. So start with that. Get used to that. Get used to the build up because a lot of people get wiped out by the intensity needed to actually, excuse me, the intensity needed to run a full comp prep. And by love of God, make sure you actually do a full comp prep and get used to it. The amount of people that turn up to competitions that get wiped out in competitions because they don't actually prep themselves or get used to the commitments and demands that their bodies are going to be under because they've never done the full event run through in a single day is madness.
Hmm.
It's absolute madness. So that's kind of how I would prep a competition goal sort of calendar. So from day one, where you know the competition is, we always work backwards, never work forwards, always work backwards from the goal. So anything else you would like to add on that section?
Just that we've worked together for a long time,
Yes.
and we discovered maybe 2 or 3 years ago that ideally for me, a 12-week prep's perfect. We always try to go with 12-week preps,
Yeah.
because that gave everyone, basically everyone you ran through there, it gives us time to get stronger, get used to the events, acclimatise, build up to heavy lifting and deload.
Yeah.
And it also means that you're only doing 3 or 4 comps a year as well, as opposed to coming right off the back of a comp with a 4-week prep into another one
Yeah.
as well. And it keeps them
It's
nicely spaced out.
yeah. It gets difficult to
Hmm.
prep 2 comps at the same time unless the events are very similar.
Yeah.
Um, it puts more demand on your body
Hmm.
and it puts more demand on you as a person to actually keep up with it
Hmm.
because it's very easy to slide away because oh that comes a little bit further away so I don't have to worry about them. Like, yeah, but if you only have 3 weeks to prep between the end of comp one and comp two,
Hmm.
um if you have competitions that are diametrically opposed, you're not going to have a fun time prepping a dual
No.
comp because the demands on you are going to be too much. And I would recommend, especially at grassroots level, you don't do it. I would focus on one competition at a time. At higher competitive levels, when you're more of a efficient athlete, you've probably got the skill level to be able to handle it, but it's the commitment of extra time and other things you have to take into consideration. It can be incredibly difficult. So
Hmm.
Try not to double comp prep if you can do, but if you must, then at least try and make sure that the comps you're choosing are fairly similar, so there's not too much diametric opposition between the events and stuff like that. So when it comes to weight loss side
Hmm.
of things, we approach things slightly different. So first things first is we kind of still work backwards. So what's the big goal at the end of the weight loss? So this dictates on how you get into your weight loss journey. Are you getting into it because you have a holiday? Or are you like Chris, who's decided they needed a shake up and wanted to focus on a bit of weight loss instead? So Chris's prep is slightly different from other people's prep, and that's mainly because he had no specific goal to target. He just wanted to lose a bit of weight, lean out.
Hmm.
So how do we approach this? So we find out when the holiday is. We then look at how much body weight you realistically want to lose and realistically can lose. We need data on this, like past dieting phases, results that you've got from them. If you've actually achieved it, because you might have worked with other coaches in the past and you haven't achieved the target hit, or you haven't got you down to the body weight you wanted, etc. So that's actually something that's quite important to know. Um, then we work backwards. So are we 5 weeks out? Are we 10 weeks out? Are we 12 weeks out? When it comes to especially things like holiday where you want to be in the best shape, the further away you start, the better. Do not leave it. Like the 8 week dieting blocks, the less time you leave it, the more aggressive it has to be. And if you are someone who struggles with weight loss, then you are really backing yourself into a corner for actually progressing. But we have, so same again, we've got our end goal. We then work backwards. Any important events coming up that we have to take into consideration. So, like maybe like weeks away work, birthdays, weddings, because we cannot become one thing that we cannot become is social pariahs during this phase. You have to try and keep that level up because it does affect your mental health. And there's something that I always like to tell clients when they start dieting is there's only one person in the room that wants you to succeed, and that's you. But
Hmm.
you're also the only person in the room that's actually chosen to do this. So don't start fucking moaning to people. Oh, it's so tough. I'm really struggling. That's fine to talk to me about. Talk to me about it. But a lot of people who have chosen to do this, I tend to see whinge and whine a lot to other people about how hard it is. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it's perfectly acceptable to have a moan. If you're turning your struggle into your personality, there's a problem there that needs to be addressed. And you need to sort of fix it. So you're the only person in the room that wants to do it. So just make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. And if people are moaning, if you're moaning at people constantly, for example, client moaned at their partner for having chips in front of them. This is a really old client. And I went, well, what's the fucking problem here? She's like, oh, but it's just tempting me. Have the willpower to say no. You're the person who wants to do this. Your partner isn't involved in it. He's still trying to live his normal life.
Hmm.
So like it's not up to him. Like he doesn't have to change his food patterns. He may want to. It might be advisable. He doesn't have to. You have to just pull up your big girl pants and actually fucking just say no. Just say no. Like the world could be better. Would be in a lot better places for a lot of people if they just learn to say no sometimes. Um, and yeah, so you just take and then work backwards. Plan diet breaks. So like, right, we're going to do a diet break at X number of weeks. Um, we're going to do dieting, like diet break, maybe 6 weeks out, 10 weeks out, depending on how long you have. And there's also plans for like refeed blocks, depending on energy levels and stuff like that. So these things need to be taken into consideration. You then want to work out roughly how much weight you want to roughly burn or lose a week. So always do a range. So whether that's maybe like half a kilo to 0.8 kilos, one kilo to 2 kilos, wherever that is. But be realistic in it. Don't don't go wild as such, and expect as you get closer to your weight goal. that the weight loss is going to slow down and become harder. So where at the start you might be able to lose a kilo or two in a week. In the end goal, let's take Chris for example. This week he's lost zero point 0.3 of a kilo across the week. Whereas at the start he was losing maybe a kilo a
Hmm.
week or something like that. So and then we went to a phase where half a kilo was kind of the average, and now we're into a phase where zero point 0.3 and zero point 0.2 kilos are the kind of average weight losses and stuff like that. So make sure you plan those things into the equation. Plan natural points to increase demands. So, for example, do not increase or decrease stuff all at the one time. So, if you're going to start, make sure you're tracking steps, food, training, cardio, all the normal stuff, and then change one thing at a time. So, drop calories or increase steps or increase calories. Try not to do everything at once because the more you change at once, the harder you're going to have to make it in the long run. Then be prepared to struggle. Be prepared to be hungry. Be prepared to not enjoy things as much as you normally do. Prepared to be slightly tired and slightly sore. These things are to be expected. However, if you're in horrendous pain or your sleeping has been negatively affected too much, or this may be a factor you've put yourself to too big a calorie cut. And if we're looking at calorie cuts and going into that kind of stuff, have a look back at our older videos. I think it was episode 4, episode 5 we did, which we done a big topic about how to prep, like how to physically actually prep a dieting block, whereas
Hmm.
now we're looking at goal setting for this kind of stuff. So that's how I would prep for someone going away on holiday. Now let's look at Chris's goal. So Chris, Ryan, Luke, right now I'm working with four. They all wanted to lose a little bit of weight. So what we've done was we've set realistic weight loss targets from the start. So for Chris and Luke, no, for Chris, you were 7 kilos in total and then three
Yeah.
kilos in this block. Um, well, actually, we're 13 kilos at the start and then 3 kilos for this block because we're looking at that sort of total weight loss of
Hmm.
17 and a bit kilos for you. For Luke and Ryan, they're both clocking in at 10 kilos to start. Both of them, like Luke is anticipated for roughly 12 weeks and Ryan's anticipated roughly for 10 weeks. Ryan, I checked this morning, is about 2.5 kilos into his weight loss at the end of week 3. So pretty much exactly where we want to be.
Hmm.
He lost a week of training this week due to illness, but that's fine. We'll crack on. We'll keep on chipping away. That won't be a problem at all. Um, Luke's about killing a bit down. He's only a week into it, so that's also nice to see. So we're on the right tracks. The main thing in these situations is you set a goal. So 10 kilos. You then set the timeline, 10, 12 weeks. You set the targeted weight loss period. So a kilo to a kilo and a half, or zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.8 kilos, etc. You work out your calories, you diet down, and then you adapt things as you need to. So if your weight's dropping too quickly, cool, we'll make the most of it. We'll get the dieting phase done quicker because I do think quicker ended dieting phases are better in the long run. And then, or if it's going a little bit slower, then we may have to be a little bit more aggressive. So that's how you do it. But always sort of like plan at the start. Do not just go, I'm going to start I'm just going to, I want to lose weight. I'm going to start tomorrow. Actually have a plan. Plan it out in advance so you can work out when you're putting diet breaks in, when you're putting your long-term goals, your short-term goals, your immediate goals, and all these kind of things. So do not waste too much time on it. Anything you'd like to add, Chris?
No, just that I agree with you on all your points there, especially from my point of view, because we've been doing this for a while now, and it's not changing things too quickly or altogether.
Yeah.
Like the last change we made was a little increase of cardio.
Yeah, it was
Um,
150 calories of cardio increase, I think,
yeah.
for that last block. And that was introduced last week when you're stagnating around about 91.2 to 91. And with the addition of that in, so looking at your sort of like tracking for last week, you've been sitting about 92, 91.2 cents a week
Hmm.
Friday ago. It didn't really change too much. We had a bit of a rough week last week, but we got into it, like we introduced the change in cardio last week as week one, and then into this week, and we're down zero point 0.6 of a kilo across the week on average from we started, yeah, so we started at 91.5 on Monday, and then we ended this week at 90.6. And
Yep.
so that's just under a kilo in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, and that was by just adding in an extra 100 calories of cardio a day and reducing stress.
hmm
That was a
Exactly.
big thing we worked on. You was the week before was a hyper stressful week, and this week
Yep.
it's been not nearly as stressful, and that
Exactly.
plays a big factor in it. When it comes to
100%.
it, we need to make sure that we are making sure we're trying to minimize stress and maximize our sort of outside productivity time so we're actually enjoying things. So,
Agreed.
anything else?
Um, there's something else I was going to say there. Checking in as well. Like you said, don't go moaning to people because 9 times out of 10, people don't train. And I mean this in a nice way, they don't care. Whereas your coach cares, your trading partners care. You need to speak to the
Uh-huh.
right people.
Yeah.
If you are struggling.
Uh-huh. It also depends on what the struggle is, I think.
Yeah.
We've all worked in an environment where we meet people who sort of they thrive on being in the most hard done position.
hmm
Like I'm sure you've met someone, we've all met someone like this, which is basically like, oh, you'll say, oh, I'm really struggling with my diet. I've got this and this and this to eat. And then they'll go, oh, really? That's not too bad. I can only lick a lemon and look at some ice cubes, and that's my diet for the week. Woe is me. And you're like, fuck off, cunt.
Yeah. Aye. We all know people
So,
that are like that.
yeah. So you need to stay away from the people who thrive on making themselves feel better by making their struggles seem worse than yours and stuff like that. So the right people are key in this situation. Like the right people are a must. So make sure you are
hmm
talking to the right people. Um, but I think that's everything on this section. I think we've covered that in fairly good detail.
Yep.
And without anything else, I think we'll wrap up here. So thank you very much for listening today. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please like. If you've got any questions, comment below. I do try and look at them at least every couple of weeks. And as a wee afterthought, if you watch this entire section, then congratulations, you're going to hear a secret. The secret makes zero difference to most of you, but we like you a lot for watching the entire thing. As of this week, you're going to see the segments dropping in their own individual playlists. So all the strongman segments are going to go into their own individual playlist, and all the coaching segments are going to go into their own separate playlist. And this is to allow you to quick reference things. So if you're watching the full podcast and you go, okay, right, I need to remember that one section. Don't worry, there's going to be individual videos going out on YouTube of these sort of cut down sections, and these cut down sections will be designed so you don't have to listen to the entire thing. If you need the information again, you can just go directly to the areas that you need. So if you and each like I do think I've said this before, and I do think each one of these blocks like provide more information that you're going to get from a lot of coaches. So you could actually probably plan and get decent results from just listening to this podcast and applying the information yourself. In fact, I know
hmm
there's at least three coaches right now that are listening to this and that have listened to the past and I've seen in their social media and their programming that things that I've said in this are being incorporated into their client stuff, which is good. Like this is to be used as education for coaches as well as everyone else, but I do know that's happening. So, that being said, we will call it today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you later, troops. Goodbye.
Goodbye and thank you.